What's going on, everyone? So yesterday I talked about the rumors that are circulating about Keldon Johnson being shopped and potentially being on the trade block. Now, again, that doesn't necessarily mean that they will trade Keldon Johnson, but you do your due diligence, right? You see what's out there, you see what's available, you see what kind of offers you may get for him. He's kind of the odd man out, right? With Castle and Vassell, and now you got Harrison Barnes and you got Chris Paul, right? So it's just like, do you kind of try to fit spots for your young guys, Harrison Ingram, or do you try to use him to go get a trade for a position of need, right? And that's kind of what I want to touch on. And of course, I want to hear your thoughts and opinions. So let me know down in the comments below. But what do the Spurs need, right? Like, you look at the roster, you look at what they have, and you have pretty much your starters locked up this season, outside of one position, essentially, right? So you got your point guard in Chris Paul. Chris Paul is going to be the point guard. You're trying to grow, develop, and have him mentor Stephon Castle. Beautiful. Then you have Devin Vassell as your two guard. Then you could, if you wanted to, slide Harrison Barnes to the 4, maybe put Castle or Vassell at the 3, and then go with like Victor at the 5. That is a very real possibility. Or you, again, let the rookie kind of have the year to kind of get his feet wet. Don't put too much pressure on him. Kind of let him be the primary guard off the bench for both Vassell and Chris Paul. And then that would leave you with Chris Paul, Vassell, Harrison Barnes, and then you have Victor Wembanyama. But the beauty of Victor is you have his versatility, where you can slot him at either the 4 or the 5, right? So one of the things that I love about the potential there is it gives you the option to, one, have more targets and potential opportunity for a guy, and allows you to kind of like, okay, well, there's these two guys, but this guy is cheaper than this guy, and we could just leave Victor at the 5, right? Or if it's the other way, it's like, oh man, this guy's cheaper than this guy, but we could just slide Victor to the 4 and then get the guy, and you can kind of go with the cheaper option in that regard. But to me, I think they could really use another big man, either at the 4 or the 5. So to start it off, you could go with the 4, leave Victor at the 5, use his versatility at that, the type of offense you can run, his ability to spread the floor, and get a guy like, Lauri Markkanen, who's linked to him. Just kind of using Lauri Markkanen as an example, not necessarily saying that they have to get him. I've talked about Lauri Markkanen in the past and kind of my reluctancy for the Spurs to trade for him. But he's a guy that, boom, you slot in at the 4, makes a lot of sense alongside Victor, can knock down the 3 ball, play off ball, play alongside Victor. Now you got 2 7-footers. Lauri Markkanen, he's not really a guy that is ideal as like a 7-footer, right? Like, yeah, he can block the occasional shot. He can defend a little bit. He's not great, right? He's just big and long. So, it's a challenge for players. But he's a guy that he's closer to being, 6 foot than he is 7 foot, really, right? Like when you think of the sense of like a real 7-footer, even like a Victor Wembanyama and his size and his length. But, a guy, if you can get a guy like Lauri Markkanen that can slot alongside Victor, not take away from the guys. That's the key, in my opinion, right? Any move you make, unless it's for like, one of these like grandiose guys, right? Like if Devin Booker became available, right? It's like, okay, you go get him, right? You don't really even worry about him taking away from other, like, no, you go get him, right? But right now, that kind of guy isn't available. So to me, it's like, try to find a guy that can come in and kind of fit in where he can get in type thing. And, his skill set would complement a Chris Paul, a Harrison Barnes, a Vassell, even a Castle, even a Victor Wembanyama. And I think Lauri Markkanen does make a lot of sense in that regard, in that aspect, to where it's like, he's a guy that doesn't need the ball. He's not going to be demanding of the ball. He's so good off ball that, everyone else can kind of do their thing. But you always have Lauri Markkanen that you can kick it to. The other option, kind of dual, because I mean, even with Lauri Markkanen, you could slot him at the 5 at times if you wanted to, but I probably not the best option. He's more of a 3-4 than he is a 5. But even somebody like a Wendell Carter Jr., right? Another guy that you could slot in at the 4 or you could slot in at the 5. He's got good versatility. And the versatility of position, I think, is very important for the Spurs as well, right? Like to where you could have like a guy like a Wendell Carter Jr., his versatility to play and slot in at the 5, his versatility to play and slot in at the 4, to where, you can kind of mix and match it, where it's not necessarily even like a position thing. It's just they're both down there and one is always protecting the paint, one is always defending, right? Like it's kind of just like, no, we don't necessarily have Victor or Wendell Carter at the 4 or the 5, maybe just for like position's sake, but really it's just like you just have these two bigs that are very versatile, right? And you could do something in that regard. Now, I know like a lot of people talk about like Jeremy Zohan, you could go with that, but I still think he needs a little bit more time of development, right? Particularly on the offensive side, right? I think he can potentially get to where, he's kind of like that point forward almost that can knock down the occasional shot and provide you some level of offense with the defense and versatility. I do think he can get there. But to me right now, if you can get a guy that, makes sense that you can slot in, and maybe that's even kind of an argument for like a Lauri Markkanen, because even after Harrison Barnes, you could just slide Lauri Markkanen to the 3 and then go with like a Zohan at the 4, right? And go with that. So there is that argument, but I like the versatility route, but I also think that there's a genuine argument to go get a bigger center, right? Get a guy that you can kind of take the wear and tear away from a Victor Wembanyama, right? Because particularly in the West, you think of like who he's playing against on a regular basis, and it's like Sabonis, Jokic, right? Zach Edey's now in the West. You even got guys like Şengün, right? Like you got these guys that are just kind of bigger, can kind of back you down, and it's just, do you really want Victor to have to, with his frame currently? That doesn't mean he can't eventually, put on a little weight, put on a little size, and be able to match up better. But to me, it's like if you can kind of keep him from having to just have to bang down low with the big fellas, go get a guy like, a Walker Kessler is a name that I've thrown out before, right? Because he's a cheaper route, but he also fits the youth of the Spurs, right? He's still incredibly young. He's a guy that you could have for now and the long term. Defensively is going to give you everything that you need. He's got versatility. He can make plays out of the post. He's shown a little bit of the ability to stretch the floor and knock down the occasional 3. He can pass, right? Like, and then now you can kind of put Victor in that scout role. Like, again, I like the versatility of, again, like a Wendell Carter or like, Lauri Markkanen. Again, these are all just kind of examples. I'm sure that there's several other guys that you could throw out there, but I also like personally more is a Victor Wembanyama that gets to kind of play in that free safety role, because he is so big, long, and excellent defensively. I mean, in my opinion, he was the best defense player in the league last year. Now, imagine if you can kind of just let him patrol. Imagine if you can kind of just let him just kind of read the offense, the opposing team's offense, and, basically adjust and do what's necessary to deter shots and, block shots, and also be able to come in and help as a rebounder and stuff. I really like the idea of Victor kind of slotted at the 4, at least for now, right? Because again, he is very skinny. Like I saw some stat the other day that was like Bronny James and Victor Wembanyama both have like the exact same weight, not good, right? Especially for the wear and tear, and especially historically for just the bigger guys, right? Just injury wise, right? You want to keep them as healthy and as least banged up as possible. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you think power forward, center is the way to go? Do you like the more versatile route? Do you like the more, not like, hey, move Victor to the 4 and then go get a center, go get somebody, like I said, like a Walker Kessler or whatever. However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I would love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.